Okay, so does this reasoning make sense? I know I shouldn't eat hamburgers because the beef industry is destroying the environment, but whatever, I drive an electric car, so I guess it's okay. Yeah.
So I don't like for the question regarding the electric cars and hamburgers, I don't think I really like that question. But if I was thinking about like, oh, I helped an old woman cross the street,
Yeah.
I now have permission to like spit on a kid or something. Um,
Knowing right from wrong is a course that is aimed at exploring it's the science and the philosophy of morality. But deeper than that, it's aimed at inspiring students to discover their own moral trajectory and to think carefully about where they want to be and go in life.
So, and I think we just talked about yesterday also, people are far more defined by the bad things they do than the good things they do. And like the example down there, help an old woman cross the street, that's great, but the kid in their family that you just spit on, they don't care about that. Right. They're still gonna think you're a horrible person,
Right.
regardless
No,
of the good
that's
thing.
insightful, yeah, and that if you are doing this moral bank accounting, that you got to be careful when you cash in your chips. You may actually end up with less than you started off with, is what I'm hearing, and that's, I think, an insightful way to look at this.
I have a somewhat unusual story. My mom was married when she was 17. She had me when she was 18. She had my brother when she was 19, and she was divorced when she was 20. And so we were without a father for the first 9 years of my life. Growing up in Brooklyn without a father, and then later with a stepfather who was a street savvy kind of guy, we were exposed to a lot of morally questionable happenings in our neighborhood. I was a sensitive kid, an observant kid, and was always a little puzzled and also intrigued by what seemed like people's willingness to break rules or hurt other people, and it seeming in some context to be expected or okay. So I have found it fascinating and puzzling, and I think it has motivated a lot of my intellectual interests as an adult. My grandfather had an enormous influence on my life. I went to a high school where there was a lot of fighting and rioting and racial tensions and all this kind of thing. More and more, my grandfather became sort of this psychological oasis. He was just a calm, quiet guy who was generous and caring. He was a foil for all of the chaos and uncertainty and insecurity that seemed to surround my childhood otherwise. I was walking with two of my best friends. We were walking through an alley that led out onto a street. And as we were walking through this alley, a car pulled up, and a young guy got out of it with a gun and basically came walking toward us with it. He asked for our wallets. He was staring, pointing the gun at my face and holding it there, but I could see his hands were shaking. And we're making direct eye contact, and there was just something so human about this moment. I'm terrified. At the same time, it seemed just too human a moment. So he's heading back to the car, and I called back to him, and I said, "Hey," and he turned around, and I said, "Look, you have our wallets. Could you give us back the wallets without the money. We don't need the money, but my license is in there. I had working papers in there. And he looked at me and he said, are you sure? Because I think he was surprised. And I said, yeah, that's all I want. And he tossed them back. Something about this moment opened up a world of possibility. No matter what the tense moment that I'm in, I see a lot of space in them, and I see a lot of opportunities for exploring them and for finding in them the unexpected. I try to bring, well, I probably can't help but bring some of that willingness to explore under pressure into the classroom and into the teaching. If I could do it with a gun pointed at my face, I could do it in almost any other situation.